Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyOwl.com. Eugene, you're sabotaging me again.
I didn't fucking say anything.
Hey, and now with the dirty talk. Look, you're just.
I didn't say anything.
Compounding.
A bad dancer blames the shoes.
Start over. Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyOwl.com, joined once again by the inevitable, the ineffable, the ineluctable Eugene S. Robinson, author of Fight, Everything You Ever Want to Know About Ass Kicking, but we're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
Oh.
We are here.
Someone's been practicing.
Somebody's done this a lot, even though I always do it badly. Two, not one, but two UFC fight nights on Saturday. One at 4 p.m. Eastern from Ireland, one at 9 p.m. Eastern from Brazil, one on Fight Pass.
So 4 p.m. Eastern, that's going to be – guy already bitched me out for CET. So that would be –
That's 1 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. on for you. And and it's very unclear exactly what's going to run because Wikipedia says they're both on Fight Pass. UFC.com says that the Brazilian card will be on FS1, but it's a 12-fight card. I guess it'll all be on FS1, which sounds like a bleeding marathon.
So hold on. So it's all on Fight Pass or it's all not on Fight Pass?
Mousasi versus Hall 2 from Ireland is all on Fight Pass. That's confirmed. The second one, I believe, is all on Fox Sports 1. Unbroken, 12 fights, Fox Sports 1. It could go on.
Where did you read that they were all Fight Pass? Why, as media
now, both UFC.com, everybody agrees that UFC.com says that Mousasi versus Hall from Ireland will be on Fight Pass.
And the other one?
And UFC.com says that Bader versus Nogueira 2 will be live on FS1. So I guess that's what it is. It's just unusual because we've never had a fight card that was 12 straight fights on FS1 before. And the way they lard those shows up with ads, that thing could go on and on.
I'm not gonna get away with watching fucking essentially 8 hours of MMA. I'm gonna have to watch it on the uptake on Sunday.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna be making that choice of, because this is a lot. But let's just dive disclaimer.
Well, first I want to go the Uber conspiracy theory.
We always have time for that, of course.
Do you think that this is WME's way of clearing the decks in terms of contractual obligations, just getting as many guys as they can? You got 1-2 fights left on your contract. You're probably fighting on this card.
It could well be, but this isn't that many more fights than on a normal. I mean, it's not unusual to have 12 fights on a card. And these fights were booked by Zuffa a long time ago, or these events. So they have these 2 cards, they got to fill them out. So give us a disclaimer, Eugene.
Crybabies, bedwetters, greedy bread gobblers, work-shy individuals, malingerers, chronic grumblers. This has less to do with your skills and talents as a human being or a fighter and much more to do with your ability to generate some heat vis-a-vis fighting an exciting fight. You don't want us to shit on your fight. You don't want us to don't care your fight. Fight an exciting fight and move to the care list. It is possible. Citation. Paul Felder, Charles Oliveira, and Ally Quinta. Bok Choy is another one.
Korean Superboy.
Yeah, until then, don't come crying to us.
Rodriguez comes to mind. But isn't it great to breathe the free air of Trump's America? Now we don't have to be political correctness. Used to, instead of bedwetters, we said depends wearers. And instead of crybabies, we said those who weep. And now all the freedom of speech you want, Eugene.
Hey, people are too politically correct, you fucking asshole. With all due respect, you dirty piece of... Huh?
Yeah,
no, leave it open. With all due respect, you dirty piece of shit, I'm just saying.
All right.
This is popular discourse has changed.
With all due respect, you lying
I'm a minister.
You're a minister. All right.
Well, actually, technically, I'm a rector.
A rector. I never understood what all that rector.
Killed her.
That is some fresh material, Eugene. All right, let's dive right into this because we don't have a lot of time and we've got a lot of fights. So first up, UFC Ireland. This is coming from Belfast, Northern Ireland. I think it's the second event in Belfast in my memory. Headlined by Mousasi versus Hall 2, but we've got a solid 10 fights on the Fight Pass. Actually, the whole thing is on Fight Pass, 14 fights, but they have it broken up into 2 cards for whatever reason. So, welterweight, Charlie Ward versus Abdul Razak Al-Hassan.
Do not give a fuck.
Sorry, guys, me neither. Bantamweight, Brett Johns versus Quan Ho Quack.
Outside of that name, if you don't somehow weave ducks into your fucking fight nickname, you're making a big mistake. But I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care either, but again, like you, I enjoy a funny name, and that's got some magic to it. All right, women's bantamweight, Marion Renault versus Milana Dujevia.
Almost because of Renault, but not quite.
Same here, except I don't even have the almost. All right, welterweight, Zach Cummings versus Alexander Yakovlev.
Almost, but not quite. Sorry, Mr. Cummings and Yakovlev. It's like fucking bumping against the ceiling, and I just kind of can't.
Yeah, sorry,
guys. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Not yet.
Indeed. I'm in the same boat. In the first three fights, I'm pretty much like, I don't know who these guys are. I don't care. These guys, I know who they are. I don't care. Maybe that'll change right now. Sorry, Zach. Sorry.
No, I took a train from, I think, like Paris to Graz, Austria, right? And I get in the
fancy world traveler.
Yeah, it was steerage at third class, and it was a sleeper, right? So 2 people are in the fucking thing before I get there. And so it's like, oh, my only option is the bunk, you know? So I climb up in the bunk bed, and I'm literally like fucking 2 inches from the ceiling. I can't roll to my side. To roll to my side, I got to kind of get out right to the edge, flop my body in, and go. And then you're being buried alive. I finally get into Graz, a fitful night of terrible sleep.
Now, was it a 3-deck bunk or 2 bunks?
2. The 2 people who got there first were sleeping on the bottom, and then I had to shit because I got there, whatever. I get there in the morning, and I'm, really terrible night of sleep, and I'm about to put up the bed, because you put up the bed and you sit down in the chair, or you put up the chair, put up the bed, and then I see the whole time that the bed actually could ratchet down, and that the prick fucks who I was in the car with before I had gotten there ratcheted it up as high as it could possibly go to give themselves maximum room. And I say, this is why we bombed you people. This is why we bombed you.
Speaking to the people of
Austria. Well, we didn't bomb them enough. They got out of it a little bit.
I see. The Austrians were conquered by Hitler, and Anschluss.
Oh, they were victims. Oh, they were victims. I remember.
And they were kind of complicit victims.
Actually, no. What's cool about Austria is that you can see what Germany used to like because it didn't sustain nearly as much wartime damage. So from that point of view, it's kind of cool. And I've always had a good time in Austria outside of almost getting into a fist fight with a lady cab driver.
I see. And the bunk incident.
And the bunk incident. These are the 2. Well, and the woman who threatened to throw acid in my eyes.
Well, other than that, Austria's a lovely country.
It's a lovely country, yeah.
A lovely country. All right. So now heavyweight, Justin Ledet and Mark Godbeer.
Do not give a crap.
I don't either, but this name, Mark Godbeer.
Yeah, I know. I kind of wonder where it's from. If we were in the gym in Brooklyn, well, all the Italian cats would be like, Godbeer. Hey, where's that from?
Indeed. The Italian cultural ambassador is a beautiful thing to see in action.
This was Carmine. Right. His name was Carmine.
I see.
It was really Carmine. Yeah.
I don't doubt it. All right. Women's strawweight. Anna Elmos versus Amanda Cooper.
Do not give a shit.
I don't either. I mean, yeah. All right. Lightweight. Kevin Lee versus Magomed Mustafayev.
Almost, but the Dagestani thing is not fucking categorical. Sorry, don't care.
Yep. It's true. There's a lot of them, and they're generally good. This guy's got a 2-fight win streak in the UFC.
Whatever. So do I.
Well, no, you don't. And
it's Trump's America, man.
That's true. It's true. Facts are fungible.
Yep.
Facts are fungible now, so enjoy. Just like I did last week when you picked Tyrone Woodley to beat Wonder Boy, and I refused to hear it.
No,
I was trying to help you, Eugene.
No. We both picked Wonder Boy. I have the tote sheet.
Well, again,
I thought Woodley
against me, but I refused to accept it. So.
I thought. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your dog-headed refusal. No, I just knew Woodley would. But in this instance, after I listened to the commentary, I'm going to have to agree with people who it just smelled. Joe.
Oh, Rogan overcalling it for Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
But the judges aren't listening to the commentary.
No, but I think the fix is sometimes institutional. But whatever.
Again, with the fix stuff.
No, I don't say that with great conviction. Woodley has a terrible habit of being Woodley, but you know how you keep that from happening. Everybody knows how you keep that from happening.
Finish the knockout.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
mean, but the thing with Woodley is when you backpedal and run along the edge of the cage for 3 out of 5 rounds,
Yep.
according to the way the rules are scored, which again, I've been on record since 1996, 7, 8, 9, whenever we got the 10-point must system, was saying this is a terrible way to score MMA fights. And again, I'm vindicated because it's a terrible. Anybody who watched the fight knows Woodley whipped the guy's ass when they were actually fighting.
Mm.
And that Wonder Boy won the point fighting part of it, but I never signed up to watch point fighting. I signed up to watch fist fights. So,
right.
you know, so Woodley's the winner in my book. And this Kevin Lee is also somebody that I like. I think this is a care for me. And
bumping the ceiling. You're making it a care because it feels weird that we're this deep into the card and we have no cares.
No, that's not just it. I remember Magomed's last 2 fights, and they were vicious. And Kevin Lee is somebody who's on the edge anyway. So,
okay. All right. So you're picking
together, Magomed. Yes, I'm racist. Dagestani fuck the world. That's one thing I've learned.
Okay, I'm blanking that one on you because I'm not gonna make a pick.
Too good to make picks on fights you don't care about now, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
convenient. Pretty convenient.
Well, the thing is, if I did pick, I wouldn't pick Lee anyway. So.
Oh, I see. So it wouldn't be interesting.
No.
Well, then put him down on your list.
Okay.
All right. Both rack up. You know. Come on. Yeah. There. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. All right. Flyweight. Kyoji Horiguchi versus Ali Bagatinov. How the tiny have fallen, man.
Yeah.
Horiguchi's headlined a card before.
Yeah, we care. I care. I'm assuming you care.
Oh yeah. I like both these guys.
You know what? But Horiguchi, man, is he a gift yet?
No, he's still.
That's because you're a hopeless Japanophile. You're gonna say no, and you're gonna lead us down to fucking perdition, straight to perdition.
Eugene, it's important to remember, I'm not a racist. I'm a racialist. Okay.
Oh no, or like my guy said, if you replace racialist with globalist,
hey, then everybody would vote against you. So
yeah.
All right.
Hold on. So I don't know Bagatinov. I usually like him.
Yeah, I mean, Horiguchi hasn't been setting the world on fire since he lost to Mighty Mouse, but I've seen signs of improvement. And Bagatinov is the classic, like, this is a test of Alexi's theory, is the guy with the one-punch power guaranteed to make the fight interesting. Although it's been a long-ass time since he's knocked anybody out.
I'm going to pick Bagatinov.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about racist.
Yeah.
Eugene, I'm ashamed. Ashamed. Horiguchi has the skills and the karate stylings. I think Bagatinov's a one-trick pony. Boxing, all right.
So who are you picking?
I just said Horiguchi.
I'm sorry, the cops were here waving at me.
I see. Distracted by shiny objects once again.
Oh, a guy told a great cop story. He's a lawyer. White guy, big white guy. Trained.
Was he a cop or a lawyer?
Oh, he's a lawyer. The cop had to hear the story, so he's feeling a little sensitive. And he drives a SUV with shiny rims. He has a business meeting in the city, leaves his business.
The lawyer does.
Leaves his business meeting, not in a suit. He's like a general counsel at some startup company. So
now is he white?
He's a white guy, and he leaves the meeting. And he's had about 4 beers, but no big deal. And he sees.
That's usually over the line if you breathalyze.
Yeah, but it's been some time. But he comes out.
Is he a big guy?
He's big. He's about 240, and he leaves.
He can probably carry 4 beers.
Yeah, and he sees some guy like looking into the back fucking window of his car. So he just starts to. It's like whoa. So he starts walking down the street, and the guy sees him and takes off. Starts walking. So he decides to follow the guy. Right. So
that's his mistake right there.
So he follows the guy, like maybe 50 yards beyond his car, and then the guy like makes that he's following him, and then he like ducks behind, goes and hides behind the bus. So he's like, oh, you know what? Fuck that. I'm done. He goes back to his car, gets in his car, drives 10 fucking feet, and then suddenly, these undercover fucking cops come out of nowhere, like dirty fucking undercover vehicles. And like 8 big cops get out. They got the gear on, and
we've all been caught in John stings. Come on, we know the job.
And so he goes, "What's the problem, officer?" And they go, "Your back window's broken out." And he goes, "No, it's not." And he goes, "Yeah, look." And so he looks, and he can see that it's actually been fucking, shattered, but it hasn't fallen in. And he goes, fuck, that guy who was lurking around. He goes, there was a guy lurking around? Yeah, He goes, it looks like they didn't get anything. What's that black bag you got under the seat? And he goes, oh, it's my bag. He goes, you're lucky they didn't get it. He was like, no. He goes, mind if we look through it? And he's like, yeah, sure. But hold on. You said you saw the guy try to break in. And, yeah, we're sending people after him. And then he sees the guy dressed in black come out to the fucking periphery, and he's dressed in tactical gear as well.
So the allegation is an undercover cop breaks his window to give them an excuse to search his car because he has shiny rims and they think he's...
And he goes, that's the guy who brought... And he goes, no, I came up because I saw the window was broken, and so they searched through his bag, and it's like dirty gym clothes, and then the guy sees a Sorrel sticker on the back. He goes, hey, you train with Sorrel? He goes, yeah. He goes, I train at Alves. Do you know so-and-so? Yeah, I guess he used to train with us for a bit. And they go, oh, okay, later. And they all just leave.
Well, Blue Lives Matter, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Lives Matter. That's the message of the story. Let's not question our betters here, Eugene. It's Trump's America.
And so the guy who was a cop here was now all sensitive. He's like, well, I do. Man, it's not coming from me, baby. You wouldn't have believed it coming from me,
Yeah, I've told you about my first ever movie, right, that I saw when I was 4 years old.
No, what was it?
Freebie and the Bean, which I still enjoy to this day, although it's deeply racist sub.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But these cops in that movie.
Gould, who was in it?
It was
Alan Arkin or Elliot Gould or somebody?
Alan Arkin and somebody tougher than Elliot Gould. I think it was James Caan, maybe?
Yeah, that's right. I think you're right. All right.
And I'm a huge fan of both Arkin and Caan. Yep. And boy, are these dirty, violent, underhanded, cheating cops, and you love it every step of the way. And in no way should a 4-year-old be allowed to see this movie, but it was the 1970s, and you're all listening to the damage. So, but yeah, that's where I got my worldview of how cops behave, and nothing has come to change that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't have any idea what that had to do with anything, Eugene, but I always enjoy your rabbit trail. So,
all right. So Bagatinov, Horiguchi, we got some action on that. I got Bagatinov, Horiguchi. Next,
that we do. Conflict is a story. So middleweight, Magnus Seidenblad versus Jack Marshman.
I don't give a fuck.
I almost care about Seidenblad, but I don't quite. And I don't. He's the kind of guy who would need a good opponent. Or an opponent I cared about to...
Yeah.
And, fundamentally the thing is, even though some of these guys are good fighters, and I've enjoyed Seidenblad's work, if they don't have any personality, then I have no reason to care,
It's not enough.
Yeah, in my peak MMA days, I would love Hoist Gracie, hate Don Fry. I feared and loathed Tank Abbott, so I always wanted to see him fight. So these guys need to engage us. All right. Speaking of care, though, now we've got flyweight, lovable Neil Seary versus Ian, the Andy Dick of MMA, McCall.
Oh yeah. We care about this one.
Oh yeah.
And would
Ian party with the Libertines?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, and I would like to. He actually fought on one of the Tachi Palace fights. I got a poster of up here. He, I would pick McCall. Except he's a classical, archetypical hard luck guy. If anything could go wrong, like that's a guy, shit you might get stopped for by the cops that would just be a flyby. It's like, oh, your brake light's out. Okay, we'll get it fixed. Hey, what is that pill inside? Ba 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 bing, and he's off to jail. It's like, so I'm gonna have to pick Neil Seary on this.
And again, I'm not saying this about Ian, but some people are just always holding or have hookers in the car or they've got a gun visible. Yeah. I mean.
Octave Mirbeau said it best in the Torture Garden. Some backs cry out for the knife.
You've been saying that all the time, and again, I've
been saying it all the time because
I'm not sure you know what it means because this has nothing to do with that.
Yes, it is.
The back of the knife is betrayal.
But
there's
some people who have magnetized attractions to bad fortune,
like your friend Jim Goad.
Jesus Christ, man, I got to explain everything to you. What's the matter with you?
Our readers, I'm slow and addled, but our readers are even more slow. Remember, the audience They're still into bath salts. We've got people.
I can't get out of bed if I think that.
You don't like croc? What do you have against croc? It just the scales on your arms just slough right off.
Crocodile. Right. Okay, so I'm picking Siri.
Yeah, I got to pick Siri too. Ian, yeah, he's just
he could always surprise us and have some.
Yeah, it's still going to be an uphill battle for Siri because I think McCall has more tools.
How long has it been since he's actually had a fight that came off? Right.
Yeah, that's the other thing with our current weight cutting regime and everything. Although McCall's not that huge a guy. I mean,
no, he hasn't had a problem with the weights, but there's always been something. Like I said, hard luck guy.
It's true. It's true.
The question is, who's the hardest luck guy in MMA, and who's that guy who I used to love? He's a friend of Knuckle Up. The guy who looks like Central Casting Irish guy, Joe Diesel Riggs. He's another hard luck guy, right? Didn't he stab himself in the hand or shoot himself in the foot or some kind of shit?
It's true. And the last two times McCall has supposed to fight. He was supposed to fight in July and again in September. Both times the opponent pulled out on him.
Yeah, I know. So that's what I'm saying. Hard luck guy.
So hard luck. I don't think it's the backstabbing thing. I think it's bad luck. Bad luck. All right, now.
Well, but do I have to go back and explain this point? The backstabbing. I'm not talking about backstabbing literally. I'm talking about it figuratively in the sense of some people find catastrophe. Always.
Yes. Or as John Belushi once said in his rant about the luck of the Irish, it's not bad luck, it's dumb luck. So
it's not bad luck, it's dumb luck. I like that.
All right. Again, Trump's America. I'm breathing the free air. So, featherweight, Artem Lobov versus Hiroto Ishihara. This is the main card, by the way.
I almost care because of Lobov, but not enough.
No, well, Ishihara, is he the guy that does all the shit talking?
Already you've lost. If you have to say, is this the guy?
Well, there've been so many. I'm like a working girl. There've been so many guys.
And the issue for me too is, do I interrupt my role on Saturday to set up the laptop or stream the fight and impede my advancement up the jiu-jitsu scale and stop and watch this fight? And I don't think I do.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Ishihara is not the guy I was thinking of. So we'll toddle right along with the Don't Care for Me too. Heavyweight, Timothy Johnson versus Alexander Volkov.
Don't care.
I don't care, although I do think I'll enjoy the fight.
Yeah, because the big guys, there might be something exciting, but in general.
Yeah. Or just embarrassing oafs lumbering around and huffing and puffing. All right, now we've got lightweight Ross Pearson versus Stevie Ray. This is like half of an actual
we've moved on to the second set of fights, right?
We're in the co-main event, Eugene. We're in the rarefied air of the co-main event.
So we're still on the first one.
This is the first event. This is Mousasi versus Hall too.
Okay, all right. So go.
The clue was we haven't talked about Mousasi versus Hall yet. So
this is the second one.
No, this is the first card. What's on second, Eugene?
No. Hold on.
I don't know who's on third.
There's a 1 o'clock one and there's a 6 o'clock one.
Yes, we're still on the 1 o'clock one, which is called
Got it.
Mousasi versus Hall 2. The clue will be when we talk about Mousasi.
Got it. Okay, hold on. So wait. Before we. So what fight? We already said don't care.
The event of the first card,
which is
Ross Pearson versus Stevie Ray. Like I said, it's like half of a UFC fight.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, man.
Yeah, because the problem is Pearson is a guy that it's like, on the one hand, because of his mojo and his aura and his experience and my love for his work in the cage, he should be in a bigger fight. On the other hand, given that he's lost 3 out of his last 4 and 5 out of his last 8, he deserves to be in this fight. I mean, you couldn't put him in against anybody unless you just wanted to see him killed. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I don't care, man. I'm a big Pearson booster, but I just don't. I'm not fucking interrupting my shit for this,
Yeah, and the deal is Stevie Ray is like, if Ross Pearson's going to be torn apart by a lion, I want it to be a lion that might someday be the alpha lion of the herd, of the pride, not some guy who might sneak around and knock up one of the lionesses if the real lion isn't looking.
Yeah. Somebody asked on Quora the other day if there are other animals who cheat on their spouses. And they had some very wonderful video of a male penguin coming home early. And then finding like some other penguin, and he attacks the penguin, and then she like breaks it up, like break it up, and then like he demands that she choose, and she chooses the other dude.
That'll happen. Sometimes it's best to keep your eyes averted. If you want to keep your lady penguin, that is. And how do we know she didn't do the penguin equivalent of "let me smell your flippers"?
Yeah.
Maybe dude was carrying some penguin stink of his own.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unanswered questions. I was going to tell the story about the lion serial killer. Do you know about this?
No.
There was a lion on one of the game reserves. I believe the same one Cecil the lion was at. I could be wrong about that. But this lion was going around, and when he would catch a female lioness away from the pride, he would rape and murder her. And they documented at least 3 or 4 instances of this. Is that fucked up or what?
The Ted Bundy of the lion world.
Yes. You'd think being a lion would be enough. Like I get the whole bloodlust thing, but when that's your job.
Would he eat them too, or just
No, I don't believe so. I believe so. I believe it's just rape and murder.
It's like Penn and Teller said he won't do animal acts. Why? He goes, because a certain percentage of every population is fucking insane. So how do you know you don't have the insane bear? Fuck that.
Exactly. Well, have you heard Siegfried and Roy's camp's excuses for the tiger that put the fangs through, I think it was Roy?
No,
his brain? But turns out Roy's blood pressure was dangerously high. And the tiger was trying to save him because he could sense with his tiger senses that a stroke was imminent. So, yeah, it's like there's literally a site where people are defending Jerry Sandusky. So people will believe fucking anything. So,
hey, the D-man just texted in. He goes, "Is there a hangover effect from 205? Are you all basking in the glow of a good show, or after that primo cage fighting, will it get more for you to get excited? Kind of like after fucking a 10 or an 8 in most people's cases, it's harder to get it up for a normal chick."
Well, I can't say this with pride. I don't think I could get it up for anyone but my beautiful wife. So
that you should say that with pride.
Yeah, I do. I do say that with pride. But yes, of course.
And I concur.
But
whoa, I had to get in there fast, man. I almost had a difficult night ahead of me. I had to get in there.
Indeed.
I noticed you were quiet today.
But it's not the same thing. I mean, since it's my wife, there's no hangover. It's not like I was out all night courting and wooing her. It's like we're juggling kids and jobs and trying to schedule something. So, but the UFC 205 was definitely an all-nighter that I followed up by driving across Texas so I could senior set my lovely mother. And yeah, I'm exhausted and burned out. I'm still thinking about McGregor. I've watched the fight a couple more times. I'm still
thinking about McGregor, man. I'm still thinking about Chris Weidman.
You're a hater, Eugene.
I'm not at all. Here.
I hate watching McGregor. Don't get me wrong.
Here you go. A friend of mine just said it best.
Picture of trees, mists in the forest.
You see Chris Weidman in that photo?
Way in the back.
Way in the back.
Is that the shot from The Others? Is he the guy that walks in through the fog to sleep with Nicole Kidman and they're both ghosts? Never mind. I was about to say something about Nicole Kidman. I'll just leave that.
She's absolutely not sexy. Can we all agree?
Nicole Kidman?
She's not at all. Just because she talks slow does not make her sexy.
Oh. 17 years ago. Did you see the movie where she played the woman who tricks the high school kids into killing her husband?
Yeah, it was a Gus Van Sant movie.
And she was hot.
When I used to be friends with Gus Van Sant. No.
You don't think she was hot in that movie?
No. Dude. Not my type.
Dude.
Tall, thin women give me the creeps. You give me a tall, heavy woman, then I'm all right. But
and yet you say lustful things about my wife, and she's tall and thin.
I have never met your wife.
I know, but you just making random comments on the assumption.
I'm just looking at her face.
I see. Well, she's got a lovely face. But yeah, tall and thin, that's my jam, son. Classy ladies.
Well, of course, because,
Well.
Because you're not tall and thin. So,
so anyway, I will do you one favor, Eugene. I'm not going to call the authorities and have you committed over this thinking Nicole Kidman wasn't hot. I can see not thinking she's hot now. But back in the day, hotness. Yeah, for the sophisticated male, heterosexual. All right.
Hey man, you know what? I got 2 words for you. All right, you want to
What's
continue
that?
this hotness thing? Tom Cruise. All right, whatever
Oh,
happened to her head that she would think that Tom Cruise was the way to go is the anti-hot,
I,
anti-hot.
I can see that. I can see that. But I'm just talking as a character on the screen. Just a character on the screen. Yeah, definitely Tom Cruise. Whoo, loathsome. All right. So now we are to the headliner. Gegard Mousasi versus Uriah Hall in a rematch of a fight that I don't recall left a lot of unanswered questions. Wait, did Hall win that?
Well, dude opened it up. I mean, Mousasi actually, in a very clever way, opened that shit up by saying what? Said, man, that shit was a fluke.
Yeah, yeah,
Anybody could get a fucking fluke like that, And
yeah,
and
yeah.
I was kicking the guy's ass before that, and under normal circumstances, we call bullshit on that, but it's Mousasi, so fuck it.
It's true.
I'm a Mousasi booster all the way, man.
He looked pretty good against Vitor Belfort, I have to say.
And not only that, it's a new guy. He's redoubled. He's threatening McGregor. He's like, whatever. So
Yeah, and Hall. Okay, I'm completely bad. I had completely forgotten that fight. And yeah, no, that fight did leave unanswered questions. And this is also the perfect time for Mousasi to want to fight the guy because Mousasi's on the upswing, Uriah Hall's on the downswing.
I don't know if Uriah Hall's on the downswing, but
two straight losses.
He's like this. And the shorthand for him is underperform. And once your shorthand is underperform, there's no way out. There's no way out.
Well, Mousasi was underperforming for years.
It was his personality. He was still fucking winning.
What's it? Hall is underperforming. I mean, it's Hall's personality that makes him underperform too.
Well, it's that he just, when he could have put Gastelum away and just didn't come up, and then he got this thing and he had the head thing of like, I don't know if I could.
You're talking about Mousasi.
No, I'm talking about Hall. And the Dana says, look, I don't know what you got to do to discover the fucking warrior inside.
Oh, yeah, all the way back to tough.
But you do it or you're fucking gone, man. So it's like the guy, we live by shorthands. And that to get over that knock, he's going to have to be a fundamentally not only different fighter, but different person. Until then, he's got to live it and love it, and we do not trust him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Mousasi's going to bat him around the cage and just toy with him because I think Mousasi got the wake up call. I think.
Yeah, but then also, I mean, realistically, what we're looking at is that they would be 1-for-1 at that point. So why does Mousasi get the ride up to the top? But
it's just, have you ever fought the same guy? Have you ever fought the same guy twice?
Yes, but he put the narrative on it, and the narrative spin is that shit was fluky. It'll never happen again. So if he handles him the next time in a convincing fashion, even a first round, and people go, yeah, I guess he was right, and that was it. The discussion's closed. So
yeah, he can move right on down the road. Now we move on to Brazil.
Oh, okay, so you're picking Mousasi, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And I'm even looking forward to seeing it because I really enjoyed what he did to Vitor Belfort. You know what would have made that fight better?
Mm-hmm.
Is if we could have had a small screen of Vitor's wife crying tears in one corner and Jesus crying tears in the other corner. Okay. That would have just and his steroid dealer. Yeah. If his doctor, his wife, and Jesus, if we could watch them all cry while he was viciously beaten. I mean, that would have. But I'm
You're not a nice man.
I'm a sadist.
I knew that when you talk about the loose leaf in the guy's face.
That was panic. That was fucking panic, and I did not even know the thing was open, like the hooks. I was a little kid. I did not know what I was doing. That was pure panic backed into a corner.
That's strange.
Yeah. How is that strange? I grabbed the first thing at hand and threw and whacked the guy with it. That's instinct.
I have pierced no one's face with anything.
I didn't mean to have to do it. It's not like I.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
It's not like I spent hours sharpening each one of the things.
The fact that you said that is clear-cut proof that you did.
Nonsense. Total lie. All right. So now we move on to Brazil. Bader versus Nogueira 2. This is little Nog, because Big Nog's gone. Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. I mean, he's not gone, but he's retired. Versus Ryan Bader. And we've got a lot of fights. Let's start through them. First up, light heavyweight Darren Stewart versus Francimar Barroso.
Don't care,
but I'm picking the Brazilian. All right. Bantamweight Pedro Munhoz versus Justin Scoggins.
Oh, almost because of Scoggins, but I'm going to also reward Scoggins by fucking having dragged me through shit. So I'm going to say I don't care.
How did he drag you through shit?
Because I cared before, and he let me down.
Yes, he did. He blew it with the weight thing. Yes.
Yep.
I care about both these guys, and I'm going to pick Pedro. I mean, they're sending Justin to Brazil as punishment, I think.
All right.
So, heavyweight Luis Henrique versus Christian Colombo.
Don't care.
Don't care, picking the Brazilian. Bantamweight Johnny Eduardo versus Manny the Anvil Gambarian.
Ooh.
Did you see the fight card recently where Manny was the announcer?
Yeah, I did.
And instead of a belt, they had a shield.
Yeah.
I like the cut of that promotion, whatever it was. It was.
I remember that, man.
Yeah, because Manny was magic on the mic.
Yeah, I remember.
Manny won me over forever when he, as an Armenian, made a reference to genocide in one of his post-fight speeches. And my first impulse was, right on, brother, speak out, because that's one of the genocides that's officially denied in world history, that we will not accuse the Turks of committing genocide, even though they did. I've since come to believe Manny was actually ignorant of that whole historic set of facts and had just learned the word genocide and threw it out there. So I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, Manny. If I'm wrong, apologies.
Yeah, he's like looking around, like, hope, did I get that right? Genocide. Yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, all right.
So it's Gambarian and who?
And Johnny Eduardo.
Yeah, we care, right? So
I care about Manny. I've always been a longtime fan.
But you know what?
He's like the ghost, the stubby little ghost of Caro Parisian, one of my favorite.
Right. And he's also a guy about whom shit goes wrong a lot.
Like the time he stepped into the cage and his arm fell out of the shoulder socket. Yeah, I think that happened twice. I'm picking Johnny Eduardo, man. Manny is.
Yeah. I can't trust. I love Manny, but I just can't trust him.
It's not just I can't trust him. It's that he's had a long fighting career, and dude is pretty shot, and they're sending him to Brazil as a sacrificial lamb. I mean, that's what
he needs. He needs a trip. So
yeah. So
we'll get you a ticket. Hey, how about you fight? Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Maybe he likes Brazilian women.
Can you send me first class? No, we can't. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Although, if you're thinking you're going to Rio and they send you to Sao Paulo, you're in for a bit of a shock, because ain't no beaches in Sao Paulo, but it is a third world megalopolis like you wouldn't believe.
Like it's when they would say, "Oh, we're gonna fly you to Brazil to fight Eugene." I go, "All right." And they go, well, this is not. I go, Rio? Well, not exactly. Well, where? Well, the rainforest. The rainforest? In the Amazon. You're going to fly me to the Amazon? Yeah, it's called Jungle Fight. It's like, man, I don't know. Oh, that doesn't sound
what, are you afraid of the jungle?
I agreed. And they went from 5,000 to 500 to free.
Yeah,
exactly. You asked.
Hey, I was asking I wanted to get your opinions on the Amazon jungle, not your bitterness over the plane tickets.
I would go to the Amazon jungle.
Okay. All right. It's, again, Sao Paulo, also not the Amazon jungle. Not going to see a lot of, unless your idea of scenery is sewage ponds and shanty towns.
I wouldn't know, man. I wouldn't know.
And traffic jams. All right. So we are on to light heavyweight Marcus Rogerio de Lima versus Gadzimurad. Oh my God. Gadzimurad Antigulov.
You have answered your own question. I don't care.
I don't care either. Actually, I kind of care about De Lima, but I'm picking the Brazilian.
Yeah,
here.
a little. Oh.
Although if anybody's going to buck the tide, how does a racialist think, Eugene? He says the guy who might be Dagestani. What you call me?
A globalist.
A globalist, that's right. A globalist is going to say, you export your strengths. And the Dagestani strength seems to be violence, and they're exporting a heck of a lot of it lately. So if this dude is Dagestani, he might break the Brazilian streak. But we don't know that, so we'll find out. Now middleweight Cesar Ferreira, who has a nickname everybody knows him by, and I can't remember, versus Jack Hermans is his son. And the two S's tell me he's Swedish or Norwegian.
I don't care. Sorry.
I don't care either. And again, they're flying these cats in from around the world to lose to Brazilian fighters in front of a Brazilian crowd. So picking the Brazilian. I think his name is Mutanch. I think that's who that is.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Sergio Moraes versus Zach Ottow with a W at the end.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I don't. The extraneous W, Just I
Hey,
love
you
the
know
name
what?
Ottow.
I'm not gonna feel bad about this, man. You're doing it to yourselves. You do. How do you put
Why
us in
having
the,
a W at the end of his name he doesn't
No,
need?
I'm just saying, how do you put us in the position where we feel this way? I mean, it's not like there's part of it's a letdown after 205, but come on,
Part of it
come
is just
on.
throwing too much shit at the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here in the Texas Panhandle, which used to have a thriving fight scene. Like you might remember Evan Tanner, Heath Herring.
He's
These
dead.
guys came out of Amarillo.
Yeah, right.
And there was a fight scene in the 90s. There was a fight scene in the 2000s with shark fights. I mean, Paul Daly fought for shark fights.
Yep.
But the whole market collapsed because the UFC is running shit MMA on TV every weekend. And instead of the Yahoos packing a crowd and young fighters getting to fight in front of a crowd of bloodthirsty rednecks and Mexicans and black folks, everybody's at home, maybe watching TV, maybe not. And no fighters are getting paid, no fighters are getting experience, and it sucks. And here we are hating on fights when we love the game. All right. Welterweight, Warlley Alves versus Kamaru Usman.
Almost because of Alves, but not quite. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, these guys I know. I'm picking the Brazilian, but Usman is like a net negative. Anyway, all right. Now we've got middleweight Thales Leites versus Krzysztof Jotko.
Oh man, how can
For my money, this is where the fight card starts.
Yeah, I mean, Leites, and Jotko.
He's a real guy. I mean,
there's a real guy, but it's like bumping up against the ceiling. I'm tired of being a dick, so I'm gonna say I care, and I'm gonna pick Leites.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I say it every now and then,
And then you act like a dick again.
Pretty as soon as I could possibly get back to dick, then I'm doing it.
All right. I actually care about this fight and kind of like both these guys, and I got to pick Leites in Brazil. But also, these guys can both turn into complete bores. And
also, Brazilians tend to be like fingers in the air guys. So if Johnny Eduardo loses and you don't think that's in fucking Leites' head, then you'd be wrong. But I'm still picking Leites.
Again, I love the racialist analyst, Eugene. Steve,
globalist. All the Trump guys say every time you want to use racialist, just say globalist.
I see. That is some brilliant propaganda from Steve Bannon, who is the Goebbels of our era. Excuse me, the Ivy Lee of our era. How about that?
You have no proof of that. He's a
genius propagandist. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm hanging around Trump guys, so like I'm down with. I've understood what they're doing with the language thing.
Well, Bannon is a genius propagandist. That's all I was trying to say.
Yeah.
There's a piece in the Washington Post saying he's literally Joseph Goebbels. It's sarcasm and it's funny, but he's not. He's a new thing, and he's very, very talented. So, anyway, now we've got women's strawweight Claudia Gadelha versus Cortney Casey. Claudia, long time thought she was the champion in exile. I believe we know now she's not.
Yeah, I love her, but I barely care about this fight. But I'm enjoying this not being a dick thing, so I'm going to say I'm not going to be a dick, and I'm going to make it a care.
Okay, fair enough. I think. I think this is a care, and I think it's a good fight for Claudia. I'm assuming it's a tune-up fight for her, and I love tune-up fights. I don't love them, but I think they're necessary, so I care, and I pick Claudia. Okay. And sorry, Cortney Casey proved me wrong. All right. Bantamweight, Thomas Almeida versus Albert Moraes. You might remember Thomas Almeida from headlining a card wherein he became a stepping stone for Cody, what's-his-face? Cody
Say it again.
Thomas Almeida, you might recall Cody Garbrandt knocked his head off, versus Albert Moraes.
You know what? I'm back to being a dick. I don't care. I was good too, like the Raymond Pettibon legend of the guy putting bullets in the gun. I've been good too long.
Yes, which Greg Ginn stole and used as a Black Flag album cover. I love how Greg Ginn didn't pay him for a single one and destroyed the original art. That's his brother.
Well, they're both lunatics at this point, so I'm sorry.
They've always, I think, been lunatics, but they're two lunatics who produce some amazing work. So Albert Moraes, young guy, but he's had one UFC fight. I mean, talk about throwing chum to the sharks. This is just a chance to get Almeida back on track, which is the right thing to do, because I think they're in the Thomas Almeida business, and I think there's money to be made there over the long run. So I care, and Almeida all the way. Now we come to the headliner, Ryan Bader.
How do you like that when people just say Good for you. Like they don't. Also known as "go fuck yourself," right? GFY.
I would never use such language, Eugene.
Language. What language? This is Trump America. I never said that.
Of course not. Of
I
course
never
not.
said
And
that
I
fuck
didn't
word
say
when I
that.
said that fuck word.
Yeah, I didn't say any of that on the show yesterday at all. All right, Ryan Bader versus Antonio Nogueira.
Yes, I care, and I'm picking Bader.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, I think in their if they were both in their respective primes, I would pick Nogueira all day long. He's 40 years old, and he's not been Little Nog for a long time. I mean, the last time they fought in 2010, 6 years ago, he wasn't Little Nog. So
I kind of want to stop. You know,
kinda.
Yeah, I just like there's a classification of guys that you just kind of want. It's like, man, I don't know. Come on, dude. Just
yeah. I mean, we just watched his big brother, or his twin brother, his larger but same age twin brother, run himself completely into the ground by fighting at least 6 fights too long. Why is he doing this? Why is the UFC doing this? Why are we doing this?
I mean, like we talked about with porn, like it's the kind of like the worst type of porn is where you're watching people who don't want to be there. You know?
There's another kind.
Yeah, sometimes the people actually get lost in the moment. Yeah, and actually, I saw.
And there's also the degenerate pervs like Rocco Siffredi or Pierre Woodman. Someone was talking,
or Nacho Vidal,
yeah. Where someone once described Jamie Gillis as, if it wasn't for porn, this is a guy who would be selling illegal dildos out of the trunk of his car. So
I think he did both.
Hmm?
I think he did both, and for the life of me, I don't know what an illegal dildo is. But
well, come to Texas. I think they're all technically illegal.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's unfortunate.
But they have stores everywhere. They just periodically raid them if they.
Oh, I thought they sold them as paperweights.
There might be something. It might be Tupperware dildo parties that are illegal. I can't remember. But I've noticed that female-owned business seem to be disproportionately targeted for this kind of thing. Like if you're selling dildos to truckers or whatever, they don't give a shit. But if you're middle-class housewives having a Tupperware party except it's vibrators, watch out. Watch yourself, ladies. We can't
you travel with a woman and they decide to search her bag, and out comes the 10-inch dong.
I've seen that happen in an airport. I've my wife doesn't truck with the toys, but I've seen the fucking guards. Now I want to tell there was a point to this, because in Memphis, coming back from Amsterdam, and pro tip, don't fly from Amsterdam to Memphis. Just don't, because fucking Barney Fife is gearing up for that Amsterdam flight for days in advance. And they had, I mean, it was like just, they had so many idiots and goons searching us. And I had to stand there and watch as this goon fucking handles every pair of my wife's underwear one at a time, to the point that I was so disruptive they had to throw me out of the room. And then I had to wait another 20 minutes for my wife and child to emerge. And it's just, fuck you. I mean, it's one of the few places in American society where somebody like me, and I'm better than some people. I'm sorry. I'm smarter than this guy. I could beat him up. I make more money than him. And yet I have to sit there and watch him sift through my wife's underwear. It's fucking infuriating. And that's the kind of shit that could make me a Trump voter. If Trump said he would abolish the TSA and let us beat them, he might have my vote.
Do you remember my flying from Boston right after 9/11?
I don't know that we've ever heard this. This might be in the fabled Donna Shalala category, which we've also never heard. The time he played golf with Secretary of Health and Human Services, Donna Shalala.
Right. So we
like what, 4 or 5?
Yeah, she's very tiny. But we after 9/11, like October, right? So we had a show in New York, and then we had a show in Boston, and then we flew out of Boston, right? So we had to run. We had to run. It fucking run to the
Was this in Detroit that you're talking about?
No. This is
in Boston, because the Detroit airport might as well be called the fucking track, because you always have to run in Detroit. Anyway,
no. So you go, and I have coveralls that I wear. I call it my deep space suit. So after the show, when I'm all naked and wet, sweat, I just jump in the fucking deep space suit.
They smell great.
Well, you wash it after that, but it sops up the sweat. There you go. So I'm at the airport, and they look at me and they're like, "You can't wear that." I go, "What are my options?" Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, well, you gotta unzip it." I go, okay, I'm not wearing anything underneath. Unzip it. And I go, you asked for it, baby. Fucking unzipped it. Fucking took it off, standing in line.
Completely
Fucking
nude in your undies.
no undies, nothing. I'm fucking naked, standing there right on the other side of the fucking metal detector. They go, put it up, put it up. I go, hey, you told me, because I got to put it up, put it up. Do you want a private room? I go, I don't need a private room. You want to search me? I said, I told you I had nothing on. He was like, oh, you know, just put, and this is like literally October 18th or something. So I fucking put it on and get my shit. I go, thank you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm all for protecting people. And yes, we do need some security on planes, but the shit we had in the 90s was pretty much just fine. If Bush would have fucking paid attention when the CIA warned him about Al-Qaeda, we wouldn't have had a problem. Clinton stopped a much bigger wave of attacks on January 31st, 1999. Bush was asleep on the fucking job, as President Trump told us on stage next to Jeb's fucking brother. Yep. And that's when I fear and loathe Donald Trump, and I voted for Clinton, but he won my undying love for fucking destroying Jeb Bush before our eyes. I mean, anyway, enough about that.
Well, that's what, you know, I had wanted him. I liked because that he put the honest face on the party, but I never saw him being president. That's not something I wanted.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't look like I loved how he destroyed the establishments of both parties, because the Bushes and the Clintons needed to go way past their expiration date. But now we've got the Trumps in charge, and Trump didn't even know he was going to win. He was not even prepared.
Yeah.
He had literally put Chris Christie in charge of his transition team. First order of business was purge Chris Christie and everybody he ever met.
Well, so Christie's going down, man. The guy's a fucking liability.
They purged him yesterday.
No, but he's a liability. He needs to be gotten rid of, man.
Oh, yeah, for multiple reasons. And I think the main one was he convicted Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law's father or somebody, of some crimes.
The bill was going to come due, baby.
Yeah,
you had to know
but
that was
they put
coming.
Chris Christie in charge of the transition team because they were like, yeah, we're going to be president. Yeah, you know, have fun, dude. And now here they are, the dog who caught the car, and God bless him. Anyway, all right. So
I'm predicting that he will be murdered, literally or figuratively, by those closest to him. And they're trying to put they're trying to put familiars around him. But like I said, don't blink when you're in the room with Pence. Not at all.
Man, fuck Pence. The guy's a radio shock jock from Indiana who failed as governor of Indiana. Do you know how hard it is to fail as governor of Indiana when you're a Republican?
You know who they used to laugh at too?
No. Who's your money on? Pence, the shock jock and washout, or fucking Bannon, who's a self-made gazillionaire who invested in Seinfeld early and masterminded Trump's media strategy?
But Bannon is not going to be fucking president. He's not.
No, Pence is a fucking sock puppet. I mean, that's like saying, "Oh my God, watch out for this Calvin Coolidge cat." I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
all right.
Pence is a pawn in the game, dude. Bannon and Thiel, Bannon, Thiel, and Kushner are the Trumpites to watch. Those are the trio. If you think that fucking Reince Priebus and Mike Pence are the players here, sorry, they are not. They're old school GOP idiots, and fucking Thiel and Bannon are the real deal, coming from Silicon Valley and New York. I mean, just look at who they've competed with and who they've won. I mean, Bannon's a Goldman Sachs guy. He made a fortune with Seinfeld. He's turned Breitbart into a media empire, completely changed the whole direction of Republican messaging. I mean, Bannon is the man. I mean, he's the bad man, but he's the man.
So he's the guy who keeps the Donald propped up. However, there's a lot more to it than that. I think
Donald has political instincts of his own. He doesn't have any attention span or work ethic, but he's got.
I'm just saying that he if there's a need for caution, he needs to have that need for caution.
Donald?
Yes, you should be there. If you were on paranoia 4 on a scale of 10, ratchet that shit up to 8. Oh, you don't think so?
This is just your anti-Southern bias coming back because you hate LBJ because he's from Texas and you think he killed Kennedy. Admit it. It's time to come clean, Eugene. Admit it. Come on.
LBJ
Come on,
had a very
globalists.
large. He had a very
I know how you
large.
globalists think about
He had,
Texans.
he had a very large penis. Do you know this?
Everybody knows this. And he's the one who taught Andy Dick the wrap it around your wrist and ask somebody what time it is joke.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, yeah. No. And Milton Berle actually is the one who taught that. But I think LBJ learned it from Milton and showed it to everybody in D.C.
I suspect he had very small wrist.
LBJ? Dude was like 6'4". I think he had
Milton Berle.
Oh, Milton Berle? No, Milton was famous for his giant
No,
cock.
no, I'm not talking about the cock. I'm talking about his wrist. His actual wrist.
Maybe. I've never, I don't know. I don't know. Milton's been dead a long time. Let's let him and his giant cock rest in peace. But back to this globalist stance on Texans. I know how you people think about us. We're the real oppressed minority.
No, you're not. People don't even. Somebody was talking to me about Texas the other day, and I said, that's not even really the South. And they go, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Ask somebody in Texas if they think they're from the South." Texas is
what part of Texas?
Exactly. It's its own thing. It's its own thing. And you guys know that if you say Mississippi and Texas, inside your head you're going like, what?
Yeah, I was in a band. My band once brought in a Dixie from Virginia. That's what we call them, Dixies.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Brought in a Dixie to play bass for us on tour. Best bass player we ever had, unbearable to be with in the van. And we would just go on and on. Our big mistake in the Civil War was getting saddled up with you losers. And that just, yeah.
I bet he was like fucking livid, right?
He was totally livid. And this was a kid who'd been in like Sharp, Skinheads Against Racism. I mean, he was like a conscious kid, but still he had that Virginia pride. And and we just called them Dixies because that's what they are. So yeah, Texas and the South, although big chunks of Texas are the South. Yeah, it's called the Pine Curtain. But that's not what people are here to hear. Bader versus Nogueira. Is there anything to say about this fight? We've got one shot fighter and one guy who's he's very good, but not.
No, you know what? I picked Bader. He's a friend of Knuckle Up. He's been on the show, and but this fight makes me sad.
And you know what? I think it makes Bader sad too. And that's I think there's a little bit of heart in Ryan Bader, and he's not a complete killer sociopath like you need to be a great fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like GSP looks all nice and friendly. But if you put GSP in the cage with an aging legend and he thought he could get over on him,
yeah.
You'd get the full nut shots and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So, but I got to go. This is our show. Anything else you need to say, Eugene?
No. I see that they're calling you.
Yep. So, adios, MMA aficionados. Twitter, YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Go to Aussie.com and read my piece on Jack's team. It's called Hell's Angels with Skateboards.
I'll check it out. So, adios, MMA aficionados. Thanks, Eugene. We'll see you next time.
All right, man. Later.